What if I told you the biggest reason most people fail isn't lack of talent, money, or opportunities? It's an inability to stay consistent. Dreams don't die overnight. They slowly fade when you miss just one day. That skipped habit, that delayed action, that small excuse, it compounds into failure. Consistency is a silent killer of excuses and the invisible bridge to success. If you leave this video, you're not just walking away from words, you're walking away from the exact mindset that separates winners from quitters. Stay until the end, or risk repeating the same cycle of regret forever. Part 1. The hidden power of consistency. What if I told you right now, the biggest reason your dream life is slipping away isn't lack of money, lack of talent, or lack of time. It's inconsistency, that silent killer of ambition. The truth is, every single time you quit halfway, every single time you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," you are burying your dream 1 inch deeper in the grave. And here's the part that should terrify you. Once enough dirt is piled on top, once enough laters become nevers, you'll wake up one day realizing it's gone forever, and you won't get another chance. Think about it. Right now, there's someone out there no smarter than you, no more talented than you, who simply refused to quit. They showed up one more time. They pushed one more day. And because of that, they are living the life you secretly dream about. And if you're honest with yourself, you probably had moments where you almost broke through, but you walked away. Maybe it was the workout routine you stopped after 2 weeks. Maybe it was a business idea you quit on when it got hard. Maybe it was a book you said you'd write but never finished. Be real with yourself. How many unfinished chapters are scattered across your life story? And how many of those chapters could have been the breakthrough you've been praying for? Pause for a moment. Imagine yourself 5 years from now. You're scrolling through your phone and you see someone else doing exactly what you once dreamed of doing. Maybe they have the body you wanted, the business you imagined, the freedom you used to crave. And you realize something that crushes you inside. It could have been you. The only difference, they stayed consistent. You didn't. That's the harsh reality. And if you don't face it now, it will eat you alive later. Because inconsistency isn't just failure, it's self-betrayal. It's teaching your brain to stop trusting yourself. Every time you say, "I'll change," and then give up, you program your identity with weakness. You confirm to yourself, "I am the type of person who quits." But here's a powerful flip side. Every single time you stay consistent, even in the smallest way, you wire your brain for success. Every workout, every page read, every dollar saved, every uncomfortable step forward, it all compounds. Consistency is not about intensity, it's about identity. You don't have to win every day, you just have to not quit. Let me tell you a story. There were 2 men who started their journey at the exact same time. Both wanted to build a business. Both had the same resources, the same knowledge, and even the same struggles. The first man started strong, but after 3 months of slow results, he quit. He told himself it wasn't meant for him. He went back to comfort, and today he lived a life of regret, forever wondering what could have been. The second man, he felt the same frustration, the same doubt, but he stayed consistent. He kept showing up, even when nobody believed in him. A year later, he had built momentum. 3 years later, he had financial freedom. The difference wasn't talent, it was persistence. And here's the scary part. Which one are you right now? Be honest. Are you the one who quits when the results don't come fast enough? Or are you willing to stay in the game long enough to win? Ask yourself this. How many times have you quit right before your breakthrough? How many times have you given up in the final mile? How many times have you let the pain of today blind you from the reward of tomorrow? Here's the brutal truth. The world doesn't care about your potential. It only rewards your persistence. Nobody gets a trophy for almost making it. Nobody gets remembered for trying halfway. You will only be respected, rewarded, and remembered if you finish. And if you're thinking, "But I don't feel motivated every day," let me remind you of something. Consistency is not about motivation. It's about commitment. Motivation is a mood, but consistency is a decision. You don't brush your teeth because you're motivated. You do it because it's a non-negotiable part of your identity. That's how success is built, through daily, non-negotiable actions. Say this to yourself right now. I am consistent, even when it's hard. I refuse to let excuses steal my future. I show up because my dreams deserve it. Repeat those affirmations until they burn into your identity. Because the truth is, the only thing separating you from the person you want to be is the ability to do the small, unsexy, boring things every single day. Success is never one big moment. It's the accumulation of 1,000 small, consistent moments. Now, let's dig deeper into the psychology. Your brain is wired to seek comfort and avoid pain. That's why quitting feels so tempting. It gives you relief in the moment. But here's the dark truth. Short-term relief leads to long-term suffering. Every time you quit, you trade temporary comfort for permanent regret. And regret is a pain that never leaves. Think about it. Have you ever quit something, and months later, you still think about it? You still feel that sting of what if? That's regret haunting you. And the only way to silence regret is through consistency. Ask yourself this right now. Do you want your life to be defined by regret or by results? Do you want to look back with pride or with shame? Picture your future self again. If you stay consistent for the next year, how will your life look? More confidence? More freedom? More opportunities? Now flip the script. If you quit again, what will your life look like? The same patterns, the same struggles, the same frustration. Which version of you do you want to meet? Consistency is a secret contract between your present self and your future self. Every time you show up today, you're giving a gift to the future you. But every time you quit, you're stealing from them. Do you really want to rob your future self of the life they deserve? Here's another affirmation for you. My future self is proud of the consistency I practice today. Now let's be clear. This isn't about perfection. You don't have to do everything right. You just have to stay in motion. Even a small step forward is progress. Even crawling is better than quitting. The goal is not to be flawless. The goal is to be relentless. And here's a final warning. If you click away from this video right now, you're not just skipping a few minutes, you're skipping your breakthrough. You're repeating the same pattern that's been keeping you stuck for years. But if you stay, if you commit to mastering consistency, you'll unlock a power inside you that will change everything. Because the truth is simple. Consistency doesn't just build habits, it builds destiny. And your destiny is waiting. The only question is, will you stay consistent long enough to claim it? Part 2. The price of inconsistency. Let me ask you a hard question. How many times in your life have you started something full of fire, only to abandon it halfway? Think back. Maybe it was a fitness routine, a business idea, a morning habit, or even a promise you made to yourself. At the beginning, you felt unstoppable. You told yourself, this time it's different. This time I'm going all the way. But then, the first obstacle appeared. Maybe it was stress, maybe it was doubt, maybe it was laziness. And instead of pushing through, you stopped, and in that exact moment, something far more dangerous happened than just quitting a task. You began teaching your brain that it can't trust you. That's the price of inconsistency. Every time you stop, you're not just breaking a routine, you're breaking your own identity. Pause for a second and really feel this. What happens inside you when you break a promise to yourself? You feel guilt, don't you? You feel a heaviness, a quiet voice inside whispering, "See, I knew you wouldn't follow through." That voice is your subconscious reinforcing weakness. And the more times you give in, the louder that voice gets. Until one day, it becomes your identity. You start calling yourself lazy. You start saying things like, "I'm just not disciplined," or "I can never stick to anything." But here's the dark truth. It's not that you can't, it's that you trained yourself not to. Let me give you a story. There was a man who wanted to lose weight. He joined the gym, and for the first 2 weeks, he was on fire. But then one morning, he skipped his workout. He told himself, "It's just one day." That one day turned into 2, then into 3. And before long, the gym became a memory. The sad part? He told himself the same lie millions of people tell themselves, "I'll start again tomorrow." But tomorrow never came. And years later, he looked at himself in the mirror, heavier than ever, his health broken, and whispered the words nobody wants to admit. "I did this to myself." That's a terrifying price of inconsistency. It steals from your future. And here's what makes it worse. The damage doesn't show up instantly. When you skip one workout, nothing happens. When you miss one business call, nothing happens. When you avoid writing one page of your book, nothing happens. But inconsistency is a silent thief. It robs you slowly, invisibly, until one day you wake up and realize your dream has been stolen right out of your hands. Ask yourself, how many dreams have already been stolen from you because of inconsistency? How many opportunities slipped through your fingers because you didn't show up when it mattered most? Let me hit you with the cold, hard truth. Your future doesn't care about your excuses. The world doesn't stop because you're tired. Success doesn't wait because you're not in the mood. And your dreams don't care about how you feel. They only care about whether you show up. Say this to yourself right now. I am stronger than my excuses. I choose discipline over mood. I am consistent because my future depends on it. Because it does. Every day you skip, every promise you break, every excuse you make, it's all stacking against you. And the scariest part? Inconsistency compounds. Just like good habits build momentum, inconsistency builds destruction. Let me give you another story. This one about a young woman with massive potential. She wanted to be a writer. She had talent, vision, and passion. She started strong, writing every morning for 2 weeks. But then life got busy, and she skipped a few days. She told herself, I'll catch up later. Weeks passed, and her dream faded. 10 years later, she saw her friend publish a best-selling book. And in that painful moment, she realized it could have been her. The only difference, her friend stayed consistent. She didn't. That regret became her shadow for life. Now I'll ask you, which one will you be? The person who creates their dream through consistency, or the person who watches someone else live it because you couldn't stay the course? And before you say, but it's hard, let me remind you, of course it's hard. That's why it matters. Do you want a life of ease and regret, or a life of struggle and victory? The struggle is temporary, but the regret of inconsistency is permanent. Here's the psychology behind it. Your brain creates pathways based on repetition. If you repeat quitting, your brain wires quitting as normal. If you repeat consistency, your brain wires success as normal. That's why inconsistency is so deadly. It builds a quitting identity, and identities are hard to escape. So I'll ask you again, what identity are you building right now? Are you building the identity of someone who stays consistent no matter what? Or the identity of someone who gives up at the first sign of resistance? Pause and reflect. If someone described you in one sentence a day, would they say, this person is consistent, reliable, disciplined? Or would they say, this person quits when it gets hard? Now here's where the dark psychology comes in. Let me remind you, nobody respects the quitter. Nobody admires the inconsistent. The world is watching, even if you don't realize it. And when you quit, people don't forget. They label you. They think, he always gives up. She never finishes. And whether you admit it or not, you feel that shame inside. You know you're capable of more, but your inconsistency keeps dragging you back into the shadows. So here's the choice. Do you want to be respected or forgotten? Do you want to be remembered as the one who pushed through, or the one who gave up? Say this affirmation right now. I am building the identity of a finisher. I will not quit when it gets hard. My consistency makes me unstoppable. Imagine your life 1 year from today if you master consistency. How different would your body look? How much stronger would your finances be? How many opportunities would be in your hands? Now imagine the opposite. Imagine quitting again. Imagine letting inconsistency rule your life. What does that future look like? The same struggles, the same pain, the same emptiness. And here's the dagger. The future is coming whether you're ready or not. The only question is, which version of you will meet it? Consistency isn't about today. It's about tomorrow. Every consistent action you take today pays dividends in the future. Every inconsistent choice you make today steals from that future. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just watch this video. Make a decision. Decide that you will never again let inconsistency define you. Decide that you will finish what you start. Decide that you will become the person your future self is begging you to be. Because if you don't, you already know the price. You'll live a life of regret, watching others win the rewards that could have been yours. And if you're honest, you've already tasted that regret. The question is, are you willing to taste it again? Or will you finally rise above it and claim your destiny? The choice is yours. Stay consistent, or pay the price of inconsistency. But let me warn you, once the years pass, once the opportunities are gone, you can't buy them back. Regret doesn't refund. Stay consistent now, or stay haunted forever. Part 3. The silent enemy of persistence. What if I told you that the biggest enemy of your persistence isn't failure, isn't exhaustion, isn't even other people telling you to quit? What if I told you the real enemy is silence, the silence in your own mind, that deadly moment when your dreams stop screaming and the world convinces you that giving up is a sensible thing to do? Let me be brutally honest. Most people don't lose because they couldn't win. They lose because they let silence replace the voice of their vision. And if you allow that silence to grow, it doesn't just kill one dream. It becomes a habit, a pattern, a chain wrapped around your future. Think about this. How many times in your life have you started something with fire in your chest, only to feel the excitement fade a week later? How many times did you swear this was the time you'd stay consistent, only to find yourself scrolling, wasting, waiting, silently quitting without ever saying the words out loud? That is a silent enemy, and if you don't confront it, it will destroy you. Not just today, but in every battle that follows. You see, persistence is not loud. Persistence doesn't cheer for you. Persistence doesn't clap when you wake up tired. Persistence doesn't give you standing ovations when you grind at midnight. No, persistence is quiet, heavy, and demanding. And the silent enemy loves to whisper in those quiet moments. Rest a little longer. You've done enough. It's not worth it. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe never. And you believe it because it doesn't come as a scream. It comes as a gentle, reasonable thought. That's how dreams die, slowly, silently, disguised as common sense. But here's a painful truth. There's no such thing as neutral. You're either moving forward or falling behind. Every time you let silence win, someone else out there is moving while you're standing still. Someone is reading when you're resting. Someone is training when you're hesitating. Someone is building when you're doubting. And in the end, life doesn't care about your excuses. The world rewards the persistent, not the almost persistent. Let me give you an example. Imagine two runners starting a marathon. One pushes hard, feels pain in their legs. Hears a whisper. Stop. Nobody will care if you don't finish. And they listen. They sit down, drink water, and leave the track. The other runner hears the same whisper, but instead of obeying it, they replace it with an affirmation. I will not be the one who dies with regret. I will finish what I started. And step by step, even limping, even gasping, they cross the finish line. Now, here's the haunting part. The difference between them wasn't talent, wasn't strength, wasn't luck. It was a way they handled silence. One let it kill them. The other turned it into fuel. So ask yourself this. How many times have you been the first runner? How many dreams have you abandoned in silence, telling yourself you'd come back later when you never did? How many unfinished books, half-hearted workouts, broken promises are stacking like gravestones in your life? And most importantly, how many more are you willing to bury before you realize that persistence is the only way out? You may be nodding, but here's where dark psychology enters. If you walk away now, if you shut this down, you're not just skipping motivation. You're confirming to yourself that silence rules you. You're reinforcing the pattern that already cost you years. Do you really want that? Or do you want this to be the day you choke the silent enemy before it strangles your future? Mini affirmation. I am louder than my excuses. I am stronger than silence. I finish what I start. Say it, not in your head, out loud. Because silence dies when you speak against it. Let me pull you into a story that may feel uncomfortably familiar. There was a young man who wanted to become an architect. He bought the books, watched tutorials, even sketched designs late into the night. But slowly, life got busy. One missed day turned into a week. 1 week turned into months. He told himself, I'll come back when I have time. He never did. 10 years later, he was working a job he hated, walking by buildings that other architects designed, buildings that could have been his legacy. And every time he saw them, he felt that stab, the regret that never goes away. His life wasn't ruined by failure. It was ruined by surrendering to silence. Reflection question, will that be you? 10 years from now, looking at someone else living the life that should have been yours, all because you believed the soft voice that told you to stop. Persistence is the weapon that slays silence. And persistence isn't about never feeling weak. It's about refusing to let weakness win. You will feel tired. You will doubt yourself. You will want to quit. But persistence says, not today, not now, not ever. And here's a paradox. The more you resist silence, the stronger your voice becomes. The more you choose persistence, the easier persistence feels. It's like building muscle. At first, it burns, it hurts, you want to quit. But as you continue, the weight that once crushed you becomes a weight that strengthens you. Silence may never disappear completely, but it becomes so faint that it can no longer stop you. So let me leave you with this thought before we move forward. You have two futures waiting. In one, you let silence dominate. You quit, you settle, you wonder what if until your last breath. In the other, you embrace persistence. You push, you struggle, but you win, and you look back with pride instead of regret. Which future will you choose? Because a decision is happening right now, not tomorrow, not next year, not someday, right here in this moment. Say it again with me. I finish what I start. I am louder than my excuses. I am persistence in motion. If you can carry this into tomorrow, silence will never own you again. But if you don't, then remember, silence doesn't just steal your dreams, it steals your life. Part 4, the breaking point. What if I told you that the exact moment you feel like quitting is the exact moment you're closest to your breakthrough? That life is cruel enough to test you at the edge, to see if you're worthy of what you've been fighting for? Listen carefully. Most people never lose because they were incapable. They lose because they walk away inches before the finish line. Imagine spending years climbing a mountain, your hands bleeding, your knees trembling, and then stopping 5 steps before the peak, never knowing that the sunrise you long for was just one more push away. That is a tragedy of those who surrender at the breaking point. And if you leave now, if you let this message slip by, you risk living your entire life stuck at almost successful, almost disciplined, almost free. But almost doesn't get remembered. Almost dies in silence. Let me take you into a story. There was a gold miner in the 1800s, a man who dedicated everything he had to find treasure. For years, he dug, invested, sweated, and sacrificed, but he found nothing. Eventually, exhausted and defeated, he quit. He sold his equipment to another man who decided to continue digging in the very same spot. And do you know what happened? Just 3 feet from where the first miner stopped, the second man struck gold. 3 feet. That's all. The difference between failure and fortune was not talent, not intelligence, not resources. It was persistence at the breaking point. Now tell me honestly, how many times in your own life have you stopped 3 feet short of your breakthrough? Here's the psychology. The human brain hates discomfort. It's wired to seek safety, comfort, the easy path. That's why when you reach the breaking point, when your muscles scream, when your patience runs thin, when your efforts feel pointless, your brain starts whispering, "Stop, this is dangerous, this is too much." But in reality, that discomfort is a signal that you're entering a new level. Pain is not the end, it's a beginning of growth. The problem is, most people misinterpret the signal. Instead of seeing it as proof they are close, they see it as a warning to quit. And so, they trade destiny for safety. Ask yourself this: how many dreams have you abandoned because it got too hard? How many opportunities slipped away because you couldn't tolerate discomfort for just a little longer? If your life feels stuck right now, if your success always seems just out of reach, maybe it's not because you're cursed or unlucky. Maybe it's because you keep leaving at the breaking point. Reflection question: what would your life look like if you had pushed just a little further in the past? Where would you be today if you had refused to quit when it felt impossible? And most importantly, what miracle are you about to miss right now if you walk away again? Mini affirmation: I do not quit at the breaking point. I break through. I endure when others surrender. I will see what others will never see. Let's bring this into your everyday life. Think of fitness. People join gyms full of excitement. The first week feels good. The second week burns. By the third week, their body aches. Progress feels invisible, and they quit. But here's the hidden truth. Real transformation was waiting just beyond that pain. In the 4th, fifth, sixth week. They never gave themselves a chance to see it. Or think about relationships. Many couples break up not because love was gone, but because persistence was gone. They gave up when it got hard, not realizing that growth and depth live on the other side of conflict. And here's the harsh reality. Life will always test you hardest when you are closest to the reward. It is almost as if destiny itself says, "Prove to me you're worthy." And the majority fail that test. That is why persistence is rare, why success is rare, why fulfillment is rare, because it is guarded by the breaking point, and only those willing to endure ever taste the prize. But let me make it darker so you don't forget. If you give up at the breaking point, life doesn't give you a second chance. The doors you abandon don't stay open forever. That business idea you shelved, someone else will launch it and succeed. That career you didn't pursue, someone else will take it and rise. That relationship you didn't fight for, someone else will cherish it. If you walk away now, you're not just choosing rest, you're choosing regret. You're handing over your destiny to someone who simply refused to quit. I want you to sit with this thought. Picture your future self, 5 years older, looking back at this moment. Will they thank you for persisting, or will they curse you for quitting? Will they stand proud on the mountain peak, or will they live in the shadow of what could have been? That version of you is being created right now by your choice to persist or surrender. Mini affirmation. I am unbreakable at the breaking point. I bend, but I do not snap. I endure and I conquer. So here's a challenge. The next time you reach the edge, when you feel like you cannot take another step, remember this truth. The edge is not the end. The edge is the doorway. And persistence is the key. Because the world does not reward the one who almost made it. The world crowns the one who refused to quit. The one who fought through the breaking point. The one who proved worthy when everyone else surrendered. Which one will you be? Part 5. The reward of relentless persistence. What if I told you that everything you desire, your dream life, your freedom, your success, your happiness, is already waiting for you, but it is locked behind one final test, your ability to persist. Imagine this clearly. Life does not deny you what you want. It delays it to see if you deserve it. The pain you feel, the obstacles in your way, the doubt that whispers inside your mind, they are not signs to quit. They are guardians of your breakthrough. And the truth is brutal. Most people fail not because they lack potential, but because they lack the courage to outlast a test. Think about it. Every great story you've ever admired, every hero you've looked up to, every success you've dreamed about, all of them had one thing in common. They reached a point where it seemed hopeless, and they kept going anyway. Persistence is not about talent. It is not about luck. It is not even about timing. Persistence is about refusing to surrender, even when surrender seems like the only option. Let's dive deeper into the psychology. The human brain is addicted to immediate results. When we put in effort, we want reward. When we try, we want proof it's working. But persistence demands faith in the invisible. It demands that you keep moving forward even when there is no evidence that progress is being made. That's why persistence feels impossible for most. They cannot stand the silence before the breakthrough. But here's a paradox, that silence is the birthplace of miracles. The seed you plant does not sprout the moment you water it. The gym session you complete does not show its results the next day. The business you launch does not explode in profit in week 1. Growth is invisible before it becomes undeniable. And persistence is a bridge you must cross to reach that undeniable moment. But here's where dark psychology comes in. If you do not persist, you are not just staying the same, you are getting worse. Why? Because every time you quit, your brain learns quitting is acceptable. Every time you surrender, your identity becomes weaker. You are training your subconscious mind that failure is your standard. And if you don't break that pattern, you will carry it into every area of your life. Your work, your relationships, your health, your dreams. That's why so many people live decades without progress, not because they didn't try, but because they didn't persist long enough to rewrite their identity. Let me take you into a story. There was a man who wanted to run a marathon, but he was not an athlete. He struggled with every run. His friends mocked him, his body screamed in pain, and his mind told him to quit every single step. But he made one rule for himself. No matter what happens, I will not stop until I cross that finish line. On the day of the marathon, he was the slowest runner. People passed him easily. His legs cramped, his chest burned, his vision blurred. But he remembered his rule. Step after step, hour after hour, he persisted. And do you know what happened? When he crossed the finish line, he didn't just become a marathon runner. He became unstoppable. Because persistence in that one area rewired his entire identity. Suddenly, challenges in work didn't scare him. Problems in life didn't break him. Why? Because he had proof. He could endure anything. That is the hidden gift of persistence. It transforms you into a person who can no longer be broken. Reflection question: what is your marathon right now? What is the thing you keep quitting on because it feels too big, too slow, too painful? And what would your life look like if, instead of quitting, you simply persisted until it broke? Mini affirmation: I am built to endure. I am built to persist. I am stronger than obstacles, louder than doubt, and greater than fear. I never stop. I never surrender. Let's look at relationships. Most people give up on people too soon. A friendship gets tested, and they walk away. A marriage hits a rough patch, and they quit. But what if they had persisted? What if they had chosen to grow instead of escape? Persistence builds depth. Depth in love, depth in trust, depth in life. Shallow connections are easy, but they break at the first storm. Real bonds are forged only through persistence. Now let's apply it to success. Look at any entrepreneur, athlete, or creator you admire. Their talent was not enough. Their opportunity was not enough. The only thing that carried them to the top was persistence. They kept creating when no one watched. They kept training when no one believed. They kept building when no one cared. And because they persisted, the world eventually had no choice but to notice. Here's the danger you must understand. The world will not wait for you. If you quit, someone else will take your place. The dream life you imagine will not stay empty, waiting for you to return. Someone hungrier, more persistent, more disciplined will step into the role you abandoned, and you will be forced to watch them live the life that could have been yours. That is the real cost of quitting. Regret. Imagine yourself 10 years from now, sitting in silence, scrolling on your phone, and seeing someone living the exact life you wanted. The same business you dreamed of, the same body you wanted, the same freedom you craved. And you realize this was supposed to be yours. But you quit. That's a punishment life gives to those who surrender. Regret does not just sting. It rots. It eats at your soul. And no matter how much you try to forget, you will always remember that you could have been more. Mini affirmation: I do not accept regret as my destiny. I am stronger than quitting. I am relentless in my pursuit. Here is a choice in front of you: persist or perish. It's that simple. Because those who persist create lives worth remembering, and those who quit fade into the background of history, nameless, forgotten, irrelevant. I want you to make a vow right now, out loud, if you can. I will not quit at the edge. I will not die with my dreams still inside me. I will persist until my vision becomes my reality. Let that vow sink into your soul. Let it become the identity you carry. Because once you see yourself as someone who persists, quitting is no longer an option. It's a betrayal of who you are. So, as you walk into tomorrow, remember this: the world rewards the relentless. The door to your breakthrough is already waiting, but it will not open for those who knock once and walk away. It opens only for those who keep knocking, keep pushing, keep believing. Which one are you? What if I told you that the greatest enemy of your success isn't fear, isn't failure, and isn't other people? It's the quiet comfort you settle for every single day. Tomorrow, we expose the trap of comfort and why it silently kills your dreams.